Hello and welcome to Snyk Live. Thank you for joining us. My name is Liran Tal, a developer advocate at Snyk, and you joined Snyk Live, where we talk about open source, cloud native application technologies, secure development, basically all around tech. And today, let me introduce the agenda and what we're going to do today. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined with Kirill Efimov. He is a security researcher at Snyk. And basically what he is going to talk to us today is, as you see from the title, it's going to be supply chain securities in Visual Studio Code Extensions Marketplace. So all about this recent, I think we just disclosed it like 3 weeks ago, about this research and what it actually entails. And we have some really great live hacking demos for you. So without further ado, let me add Kirill into the chat. Kirill, how are you? What's going on?
Hi, thanks for having me here.
Oh, thank you for joining. Are you going to hack me today? That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to hack your laptop.
Hack my laptop. It's unhackable, dude. You know where I'm living. It's in the basement. So, okay, cool. So thank you for joining. We'll get you into an introduction pretty soon, pretty shortly. Let's see what we're going to talk and do today. So we're going to meet Kirill a little bit, understand kind of like what he does day-to-day activities, what does security research kind of mean, how did he get started with security, basically what do they do all day at Snyk? I don't know, I have no idea, but he'll tell us in a second. And then we're going to chat about supply chain security and its concerns. Like we're going to talk about Visual Studio Code for sure and what exactly does that entail and this finding. And actually to show you what it means, and I would say the severity or the significance of what it actually means to use extensions and open source packages, maybe without looking too much into them. We're going to do some live hacking, which is completely based on real live exploits and I would say extensions that gets downloaded millions of times from the marketplace of Visual Studio Code, VSCode basically. All developers use it. I use it. Kirill, do you use Visual Studio Code?
Not at all.
No, what do you mean?
Sorry, I prefer to use IntelliJ.
All right, maybe you'll discover some research in the future about IntelliJ being hacked, and then we can talk about that. But in the meantime, we're going to do some VS Code live hacking, and after we show you a bit of what exactly does this entail and the significance of that, we're going to do a little bit deep dive into the actual details, technical deep dives into the security research that Kirill and his teammate Raul actually found. And this is a whole kind of like white paper case study that exists already on the Snyk blog, but we'll do it with you together. Reminding you before we get into this introduction with Kirill that this is a live stream and the chat is open. So if you want to shoot any comments or questions, during this whole live stream, go ahead and do so. So Kirill, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, so go ahead and tell us about yourself a little bit, an introduction. Who are you? What's going on?
Yeah, okay. So I'm a team leader of security labs team at Snyk. Formerly, it's a security research team at Snyk. I have many years of experience in software development, but not so many in security area, actually. I studied in St. Petersburg and Polytechnical University. If someone from Polytechnical University is watching this, hi. So yeah, and I started my career as like web developer. I think it's quite classical path: PHP, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, all those stuff. And
all those languages that find vulnerabilities in, right? You're like back to hunting them again.
Exactly. I have a joke about it. I really like back days, I liked PHP because it was easy to learn and easy to work with.
Yep.
And now I like PHP because it's easy to hack it.
Interesting. Well, maybe I'll ask you about that in a bit. Why is it easy to hack? But I think I have an idea, but it's interesting to see what you think about it.
Yeah, sure.
So what do you do at Snyk?
About what?
What do you do at Snyk? What's that like?
Yeah. I basically do research. So we are a small team of just a couple of researchers, and we do everything interesting regarding the security stuff, like this Visual Studio Code project and stuff like that.
And this specific research is something that you've like did in the past, or like what drove you to like this specific research?
It's about mainly it's all started from recent dependency confusion publication. I hope you heard about it. It's yeah.
Interesting one.
Yeah, it's really interesting one. It's a good example of supply chain attacks, and it's kind of triggered our attention to the area. We started to think what else could be easily exploitable in that way.
Gotcha. So maybe let me ask you, how did you get into security? Like, I think you started talking about starting with web development, but what drove you into it? And I have my take on this because I saw the internal perspective of this from Snyk, but interesting to see how you got into it.
Yeah, it's funny story. I've been working in Tel Aviv in a completely different company, and just like I was always keen into security topics, and like specifically in web development, this area is rich for easy understandable vulnerabilities like SQL injections and stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was really fun for me to read all these different security concepts, try to exploit it by myself. And at some point, I went to a local meetup in Tel Aviv. I believe it was in Google office or somewhere. I think it's Google office.
The Google campus.
Yeah, Google campus one.
Yeah.
And Asaf, co-founder of Snyk, was there, and he was speaking about unsafe buffer allocation in Node.js. It was pretty cool demo of stealing passwords from server memory. And I was so fascinated by that demo, so it triggered me to send CV to Snyk, and so it's how I get here.
Wow,
into
incredible.
Security and it's Snyk, yeah.
I didn't know about this story before. So basically that was from Asaf demoing about Snyk in a meetup?
Yep.
Nice, classic. Well, it's a classic way to create awareness. Really glad you're with us. So this is how you basically got into Snyk and security and got into it, full time?
Yep.
Cool. But when you joined Snyk, was it? I think you did development first, right? Or did you already right? And then you transitioned to yeah. Because I remember the internal stories about you doing normal dev, like building the Snyk products, but like from time to time, like sharing, hey, I found an interesting vulnerability. Let's do something about it. And then I remember Benji was like with us, in the previous stream. It was like, hey, this Kirill guy, he's like doing security a lot. Let's take him to security.
Yeah, it was like this. I started as a software engineer and slightly moved in the middle.
It's pretty cool story. So what's a recent project you worked on? Like anything you want to share? This can be anything. Doesn't need to be a new NPM package or a new prototype pollution vulnerabilities, which I know you are a fan of.
Yeah, I have one project in mind. So I'm sure you are aware about it, but last half year, my team intensively worked on mobile ecosystem security topics, and it all started from the research with code name SourMint. We found popular Chinese advertisement platform potentially participates in fraud and stealing money from other advertisement platforms. It was really cool. It made a lot of noise. So yeah, then we decided to dig deeper, and our next, the recent research project was on mobile market. We targeted to Google Play applications. Specifically, we were interested in the different types of intent injection vulnerabilities, and we actually found quite a lot. You can look at the Snyk blog post that has like 3 parts of technical write-up. a lot of interesting details, and we try to explain the vulnerabilities in really simple words to make this publication readable for everyone, And so if you like the mobile security or you're just a mobile developer, you must read it.
Yeah, go for it. How did that work? Like, this is a pretty significant change from being doing web dev or the web dev research to the mobile one, no? Or did you find like some correlations and things like that?
Yeah. Specifically this SourMint stuff.
Yeah.
We got some insights from like analytics. Like we got some analytics which showed that possibly a fraud case detected, and we started from that point. Yeah.
Got it. So basically, something raised a suspicion, and from that point on, incredible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty cool. All right. So yeah, if you, I was just adding this on while I was chatting. I was just opening another tab and looking for this one. So this SourMint research is a previous research that's Kirill and his team were exposing last year about mobile SDK in a big app that gets downloaded by thousands of applications. Probably me and you still use it in some way because we use other apps and they use that SDK to do analytics and stuff like that. And it has backdoors. Like that research has been like completely cool. Like they have hidden like backdoors where they can remotely execute apps. Well, I would say code, but it's like apps or whatever on your mobile code. And actually, you have some videos on that on the blog post and stuff like that. So I'll invite everyone, if you are interested, just Google SourMint or whatever. You'll probably land on some landing pages with the demo. So that's a cool follow-up one. So with that said, I'll go ahead to my third question here, the last one before we dive into more of the topic here. But what's your prediction for 2021? And I know it's mine, and I suspect it coincides with yours.
Yeah. Okay. I believe we will observe, like I'll make a prediction in the context of this live stream. So I suspect we will observe more supply chain attacks in near future, hopefully from white hat hackers. Like after the couple of recent cases, like I already mentioned, the dependency confusion today, and I personally really like homebrew security incident. I think a lot of researchers decided to have a look at this direction, so we will have a lot of new content about it soon. Have you read about homebrew security incident, by the way?
No, I haven't read about that one. Oh, the homebrew one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the home.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
you want to tell everyone about it a little bit?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's a good point to tell about it. So the homebrew itself is a package manager for Mac, which is like apt for Debian or something like that. But they use Git repository to store a database of all available packages. And one of the scripts in the deployment pipeline for this repository was vulnerable. Basically, the researcher was able to push any changes by passing any pull request checks. And the researcher was able to run arbitrary code on every Mac where homebrew was installed, which is, I think, like about 30% of all Macs in the world. Really crazy stuff.
It is. I mean, I'm using homebrew. I'm not going to stop using it. I'm using Visual Studio Code. I'm not going to stop using it. I'm using NPM and the ecosystem. I'm not going to stop using it. So it only I don't know, only frightens me more, this whole supply chain security stuff, because I mean, what you just described, right? This is, we're using these tools, and there's always that gap between you're trying to bridge security as like what you should actually do, the best practices and everything, and kind of like I would say that the user experience, or kind of like how do you make things simple and convenient, and they don't always go together. Like we've seen it for ever since passwords were invented, right? Passwords is a good example of those, right? It's convenient to choose 1, 2, 3, 4. But you probably don't want to choose that when you create an account on npm and you manage 2 million downloads for some packages that you own, because then account takeover.
Yeah.
But it's always that fine line and that balance between how do you bridge that security and privacy and all of those concerns that are now, I think, more in the kind of like the awareness of everyone's working in computers and the internet and all of that, and how do you do it in a good way. So I guess that's going to be a continued concern for everyone, I guess.
Yeah, and a good challenge for us as well, like for Snyk to bring it.
It is. How do we make it easy? How do we make it useful and actionable?
Exactly.
Cool. All right. Well, I should say thank you for first of all introducing that topic and working on building the products that I've used myself even before joining Snyk. So that's pretty cool. How about we kind of like jump into it? Like today's topic is vulnerable VS Code extensions. When we released this announcement, this PR to the media, and we disclosed all of that information. I remember like you were on the channel waiting for all the maintainers to fix all of the issues with their packages, because we wanted to include everything and make sure that it's all there. We were like waiting for it, and waiting for this to go live. So really happy it kind of like happened really fast as well, and maintainers were responsive. But I'm like, this is now you. Like tell us, what is this VS Code vulnerable extensions? In general, what are we going to talk about today? What are the concerns? You feel free to go as deep or wide as you wish. I like the maintainers angle as well, just from like the open source development part of it. But go for it. What are we talking about today?
Yeah. Okay. So we are talking about Visual Studio Code extensions. Visual Studio Code is really widely used editor, as you mentioned at the beginning. It's kind of, and with help of plugins or of extensions, you actually can make almost everything out of it. I mean, like it could be Python IDE, it could be C++ IDE, whatever you want. And this editor, basically, it has really rich ecosystem of plugins. So it's 25,000 plugins on the market, as I remember, if I remember correctly. But also, when you install plugins, you bring a lot of third-party code to your laptop. And this third-party code could be potentially vulnerable or even malicious. It depends on the case. My main goal today is to raise attention to the security of Visual Studio Code extensions ecosystem, but as well think about all possible plugin ecosystems. Like it's also interesting point that we don't see a lot of publications like this about other editors, for example. So yeah, we recently found 4 popular extensions with really severe vulnerabilities, which is exploitable in one click. It means like I'm sending a link to victim, and if victim is opening this link in the browser, I can exploit Visual Studio Code, which is running locally on the victim's machine. And this case affects about 2 million developers, which is insane.
It is, and like I think what's like really interesting to just kind of like emphasize here, you've described it, right? You could have on a marketplace extensions that are malicious, and that's why you'd get attacked or whatever. People will exploit that, and then there's like something else, which is extensions that are not malicious or like innocent, like this is something that I want to do, like the Git lens or whatever kind of like extensions that people use in IDEs, and those could have vulnerabilities in them, and they could impact developers, which this is actually pretty insane in terms of like I would never think of that, because like I would understand I'd say like packages getting taken over, like someone hijacking them and putting malicious code, which we've seen with like event stream and like what was the other thing, the Electron native notify one, and probably there's a bunch of others. So those I would expect. Like I'd be more concerned like looking into all the package health and data like that about the extension, making sure it's not malicious. or hope that no one hijacked it. But what you're talking about here is the fact there's vulnerability, kind of like an SQL injection, like path reversal, like code injections that happen because of insecure coding practices that actually leads to the fact that someone could trick me into clicking a link or doing something else. And just by doing that, you will get access into, that attacker will get access into my development environment, or be able to read files, execute code. This is it, right? This is...
Yeah, exactly, okay. Exactly. This is
and
the
this
case.
Is the life hack we'll see today is about those two as well?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
And if we talk about the one-click attacks, I can mention the most famous one, as I remember from the past, is Zoom vulnerability, like the famous Zoom vulnerability, where it's exactly the same pattern. Like
Zoom, the conference video calls sharing thing, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay. It spawns like local server to do some helper stuff. I don't really remember what, but the idea is if user is clicking on a link and you're able to have remote code execution on those server, and as far as the local server is running on your laptop, the attacker basically have remote code execution on your laptop.
Well, that's fun. I mean, if we try this, please don't do anything bad on my end. But is this what we're going to do next? Going to do some live hacking?
Yes, let's try this out.
Let's try the live hacking stuff. Okay, cool. I mean, people joined here for that, I guess. I wanted to say, just this is our agenda. I kind of talked about some of this stuff about supply chain security, and after this live hack, Kirill will actually dive deeper into the details of the security research. If you have questions on that, comments, or this is a good way to ask them. And after this, I heard, Kirill, that you're gonna end up with some tips. Is this like the last part on how to cook amazing pancakes? Is this it, or what's going on? You have some tips for us on this.
I believe someone hijacked this into agenda.
Someone hijacked the agenda. Cool. All right, let's do it. What's going on? What are we going to do? So I need to share my screen, which is basically this. So that's already shared. And we're just going to dive into this. So let's explain in one. What are we seeing here?
Yeah.
This is my screen. I'm sharing, and so that we can share both screens, mine's and Kirill's. I have Kirill's one on a Zoom, so you could see over here. And what's next? Take us through this, Kirill. What should we do?
Yeah. Okay. We be prepared here, and actually, Liran installed vulnerable versions of the plugins we will talk today. We are going to show exploits for two of those plugins. One is Instant Markdown, which is meant to preview Markdown files in the browser. And the second extension is LaTeX Workshop, which is another Markdown language, and they use the server feature to pre-render PDF, I believe, or something like that. So I'll ask you right now to I'm going to run my local server, which is basically exploit. Let's start from the Markdown one.
Okay, cool. So basically, while you do it, on the left, this is my IDE. This is VS Code with the Goof app. The Goof app is an open source vulnerable by practice. We want to use demos to do it. So I've just developed some stuff here, and this is what you see here. And so this is the left side, right? This is me just using VS Code, and I have some extensions. Who doesn't have extensions, right, on VS Code? Everyone. So I have one as well. I have a couple of them. One of them, apparently, based on what Kirill, disclosed, it has vulnerabilities in them. This is not malicious, just vulnerabilities, like code vulnerabilities that you could have. So on the right side, Kirill is basically going to be role-playing the attacker here, and I'm going to be the victim here, which makes sense. The way that kind of like these things work, and he's gonna be tricking me into doing something. So I don't know, let me show you what I've done so far. If you haven't seen what the Goof app is, we have even a README file for it. Let me show you this one. So if you wanted to use it, and basically do anything from do workshops and stuff like that in your application. You could see exactly with the README how to run a live workshop. It's pretty extensive. How to install it. It's based on Docker. It has an idea of like all of the vulnerabilities that exist inside, with marked and so many open source packages that has vulnerabilities. But Kirill, did you want to say anything? You want to add anything to this?
Not really. I just prepared to run it and send you a malicious link.
Okay, send me a link. I'll click it. What could go wrong?
Okay.
Where are you sending this? On Zoom?
Yeah. I think I'll use Zoom for that.
This is it.
Yeah, and on my laptop, I'm opening the ngrok backend.
All right, so you're ready on your end, right?
Yes.
You're displaying something here. Okay,
yes.
So let me. The attack vector here is we're tricking someone to click a link. I have done nothing except work in my VS Code editor, and of course share this Zoom session with you. And I guess if I click this, something happens. I see a new browser tab open. Let me put it right here, which I don't know what it does, but like it says nothing to see. So let me sign under. Did something happen? I just opened this.
Yeah, actually, I was joking before the session that no exploits are actually working during the live demo, and this seems to be the case now. Because this exploit doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Okay, let's see what's going on. I will go ahead and maybe it's because I opened it in a different tab or not. No, I don't know. Let's see. What else do we want to try? Do you want to try something else? Let me try clicking this one again. Maybe it's just something buggy.
Yeah, let's try.
So clicking it over here.
Yeah. Fortunately, now it worked.
Yeah. Okay. So I've basically just opened the same window. I'll put it over here again so everyone can see it.
I need to put some integration test to the exploits.
Integration test for the exploits. You're gonna take security research to the next level. That's for sure. So I've seen this. I've clicked it. You tricked me into clicking it. Like you Twitter DM'd me or whatever. Put it on like whatever, I don't know, Reddit subthread in VS Code and said like there's something magical here. Of course, like, I can see you don't like front-end development like myself because come on, I mean, seriously, put some CSS there, buddy. What's going on with this? But I totally understand you. I'm not a front-end developer as well, and these stuff are hard. But I guess luckily, security is not hard for you. So I've clicked it, see nothing here. I can close it, I guess. But what's happening here? Like, let's go back to what you were sharing. Go ahead. I don't want to show what's going on.
Yeah. Let's see what's happening on my side. Basically, I got multiple requests. One is to root of basically to the index HTML file, which I'll show a bit later. But more importantly, I got post request to /track endpoint. And I'll not scroll down to not compromise you, but this is your passwords file, your etc passvd file. You can verify it if you want, but believe me, it is.
So this is basically what we're seeing is this is 127. So we're using ngrok. When I opened that file, clicked on it, the browser opened it, it basically connected to your machine. That's what you're saying. This is the ngrok one running locally on your end.
Exactly.
Okay. And you've what is this on the post/track? You've basically sent an API request, a post request, the HTTP one, from my machine with this data over to your end.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm dying to get to like the details of how this works, which we'll get there in a second. But this is my etc password file.
Exactly, it is. We can try to see.
I haven't added anything specific there.
Okay.
Or the reason, I don't know, is there really run user there? I don't know. Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, I can find Liran user, but I actually don't know anything about the structure of etc password on Mac. So
this thing, yeah.
What happened? Yeah, just a good example of stealing files. And as you understand, it would be SSH key, for example, which is much more significant than DC password is.
Yeah, what would actually attackers would go for with this would be, I mean, obviously not EDC password because we use it as like just an example to make fun stuff. But what would you go for as an attacker?
Yeah, I believe the SSH key is the most likely the target. Yeah, I'll just let's verify you have the LaTeX workshop extension. Do you have any text files in your folder?
I see this thing, which is I guess this is what is this? This is the LaTeX extension.
Yeah,
What does it do?
Okay, you basically, to activate this extension, like to start the local web server, you basically need to open any .text file on yours. So you can go ahead and create one. I suspect maybe your web server is already started, but just let's make sure it works.
All right, I have no idea what text file, so I should just try something like this, right?
Yeah. It's I don't remember the syntax of text, but I don't think it's important right now. And I'm sending you another ngrok link.
Another URL to click on. Okay.
Exactly.
Stealing my password, stealing everything here. Okay, so if I click it, hopefully this time this works. Oh, look, open it in the same thing. What is this? Am I watching a video?
Yeah, you asked me to get a little bit more front end.
Never gonna give you up.
So yeah.
Is this your favorite song?
Not at all. But this video is actually really important for the exploit because this time you have to wait a bit. As you can see in your browser tab right now, you have the spinner. It's still loading. Yeah, because actually in the background, I'm brute forcing your local ports. I'm trying to find the correct port for your web server to do next step of hacking.
So right now, basically what you're saying is the exploit is working in the background for something. It needs to brute force some idea of like what's going on. This is what is going on here. You see a new terminal getting opened. Oh, yeah. Okay. Go ahead, explain what was going on here. I did not touch anything. This is all the exploits working.
Exactly. So maybe I can even share some pieces of code.
Yeah, do it. I'll resize the Zoom window so we can see yours. I'll close the chat. I think we don't need that one anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There you go.
So this is basically the payload, the exploit itself. And you can see this nice video here. And what happened in the background, I use range of ports. This is the ports available on your Mac, local ports, for taken randomly. Like whenever you run something and saying, please pick random port to run, you will get one of the ports from this range. And this function, which called scan, is basically iterating through all the possible ports in this range and checking if favicon for this port is available, which is a good marker that you get on the server you're looking for. And the next part is it is running the exploit function. And the exploit function is basically using this port from the previous step to execute the calculator. What happened.
So basically, the fact that we were seeing the calculator running is that you are running this command on my Mac, and the exploit, when it finished working, it opened a new terminal, and that's why I had the Mac app for the calculator opening up. Okay, cool. So this what is this showing us? What is this showing us? This is like remote code execution?
It is more like a comment injection, I believe, because like it's not completely code execution, because as you can see, I actually can trigger specific binaries on your laptop, but I cannot specify, let's say, arguments for those binaries. So it's a comment injection, not yet code execution. But with some conditions, you actually can have good trick and get the remote code execution. Let's say I showed in the previous exploit. I believe you not shared the browser screen, but it started the downloading automatically. I mean, when you open an tab, you can ask browser to download some payload, and actually you can download zip archive with the binary, with the shell command or something, and then trigger it to run via this this comment injection vulnerability. So basically, it is possible to get remote code execution, full-featured remote code execution here. And
so this is vulnerabilities of remote code execution or command execution in the extensions code.
Yeah.
Not in VSCode. That's why I want to be very clear here.
Yeah, it's specifically this one in LaTeX workshop, which is already fixed, fortunately.
Yeah, that's one that I use, and both of them are fixed, like you're saying. Oh, let me still exploiting me here in the background. Now I'm goofing around with passwords and etcd. But basically, what you're saying is I've used which are those modules that we're actually using? The extensions. So one of them is LaTeX, you said?
One is LaTeX workshop.
This one, okay.
Exactly. As you see, reload required. So it's actually, I believe it updated in the background already.
Oh.
And you still run in the old version because you're not relaunch the.
Luckily for us, I did not restart my VS Code, I guess.
Yes.
All right. This has 1.2 million downloads. So potentially that's 1 million developers who may have not updated or are using an old copy if they have like a set to auto update to false. And they would be vulnerable to something like this, right? Like someone just needs to send them a link, they click it, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And Visual Studio Code, fortunately, it has the default to auto update.
It has the default to auto update.
It has a default, so everything is good.
True. What is the other one? That was the Markdown one, right? I was using I was showing the README file, and just because of like using it, opening it, I have this. What did I have?
Instant Markdown, it's called.
Instant Markdown. There we go. Yeah, that's what I have.
Exactly.
Still a lot of people downloading it as well, right? Me as one of them.
Yep. And I can share the exploit of Instant Markdown as well, just if you're curious how it works.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
Yeah, it has really interesting part. Basically, it's simple path traversal vulnerability in this case. I mean, I was, as showed, I was able to steal the etc password file from Liran's laptop, and it is like basically if you have path traversal vulnerability, it's not difficult to load any file on your system, but as far as all the browsers by default has the coarse protection, like the specific HTTP headers, which prevents you from ability to inject, like to send requests from your browser to outer world. We have really nice step of downloading. Like first step for us is actually to have XSS injection in the plugin. We need to have XSS injection to have ability to send requests from from the vulnerable page to my backend in this case. And to have the XSS, we basically trick browser to download HTML file. It happens in most of the browsers, it happens automatically. And the file will automatically appears in your downloads folder. So, and it allows me to open this file via the same path traversal vulnerability on your local host, which is kind of XSS eventually. And via this XSS, I'm able to steal your passwords file and how it works.
It's pretty impressive.
Hope not too complicated. Actually, I'll be really. It will be really cool if you go to the publication. Like we have detailed write-up of this, and you can have a look all the exploits in there, and all the videos of each vulnerability, each exploit are there.
It's all in the blog post, right? There's a video of all of this and the exploits and all of this happening.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, cool. So what can we do at this point? We talked about these are code security best practices, right? So people, developers like me and you who build extensions and NPM packages and libraries, this is our own code, not open source packages that we use. So we should be also careful about our own code. And you've said that you actually was able to, after you found this whole research, to actually find these vulnerabilities with Snyk Code, which is a SAST tool. It's a static code analysis for security. And people, if they use it, they would find this vulnerability and could avoid it. So something like that doesn't really happen and impact this large ecosystem and all of us as users, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I can go ahead and showcase how Snyk Code actually able to detect one of those issues. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Let's. You want to prepare sharing your screen or something? Let's do it.
Yeah, I just have this terminal here, and you can see.
I'll resize it a little bit, the zoom window, so everyone can see it. There you go. Go for it. Yeah, I think it's almost full screen. We're good.
So let's start from the Instant Markdown, because I think it's a good example of fix and the vulnerability itself. You can see that I'm in specific Git commit right now. This is unfixed version. This is vulnerable version. So now I'm running Snyk Code tests. I believe Snyk test code maybe. Well, I should use Snyk.
I think it's Snyk Code test, but what this is? Let me give the intro while you do it. This is the Snyk CLI, the npm package. You just do npm install Snyk, use it, and then you're running a code test on the project.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry for I actually have Snyk installed as part of the IDE as well, but it's still more convenient for me to use the CLI version. So I'm running Snyk Code, and you can see you can see 4 medium severity vulnerabilities. They are not interesting right now for us, but these 2 path traversal vulnerabilities are here. It's 2 vulnerabilities because you can see one is in the output in the compiled code. It's a TypeScript written extension. So before you ship it, you compile it, and this is not interesting for us because it's in the compiled code. So let's have a look at server TS line 35. What is the path traversal vulnerability here? So line 35, this one. For all JavaScript backend developers here, I believe this is pretty clear. This is the handler of Express framework, Express web server, and you have the for all possible paths, you you make path resolve and path join for something called root and request.url. And the request.url is basically path and query parameters. Like it's if it will looks like slash test question mark, I don't know, slash question mark slash dot dot slash dot dot slash, you basically can go outside of options root folder, and this allows you to trick server to send files outside of your like intended root folder. It's basically, this is the path traversal vulnerability, which is Snyk Code is able to detect, as you've seen. And if you're curious, the fix for this is, let me see. I'm going to open GitHub UI. So this is the fix for this, and I really like this fix because it's basically just use one of the common this is the pretty popular npm package. It's called send, and I really recommend think about it as the best possible fix. Instead of invent your own view of serving whatever, you can use existing npm package which handles security issues for you. So what happened here. This is the view, and this is the right solution.
Nice. So this is using send to do it. So this is the fix. This is already in. This is why the package is now fixed for everyone. And like if people are using this, they will not be compromised, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So in essence, it's interesting because like this is the deep dive of getting into a little bit into the gist of it. But this is like a path traversal making its way into like remote code execution, right? This all started kind of like with this. Would you say so?
No. This time it's not remote code execution. It's just I was able to steal your files, but the
LaTeX one is the one that has it, but this one is a bit different. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
This is the path traversal just compromising my my environment files, like the SSH key, the password, everything like that.
Exactly.
Okay. Don't steal my .npmrc. Okay, cool. So so you were saying we're seeing this. If we wanted to fix it, but the Snyk CLI thing was what you were using to basically find this, right?
Yep. Snyk CLI is the tool to find that in my case.
Cool. All right. This is the high. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of like what I'd like to imagine the Snyk CLI turning into now that it has the code and all the other stuff is kind of like a linter, like a Git pre-commit hook or like a pre-push or something like that, where it goes and like make sure that all of the stuff are in good shape. And of course, if there are any false positives or you just want to reduce the noise, you can ignore some of this stuff like the allocation of resources or something like that. But make sure that the rest of the stuff that is probably very severe is something that triggers someone to look at it before they push code. So I like that you use the Snyk CLI here for that one. Do you want to share anything else, any other demos, or should we like go ahead and wrap it up? Or do you have anything else?
Yeah, I think let's go ahead. I have like 4 of mentioned plugins in here, all the fixes for all mentioned plugins.
Yep.
But I don't think it's worth to dig into each one. Like it's a lot of code and maybe not that interesting.
It is. All of that is in the blog post, right?
Definitely, yes.
Cool. All right. Well, this is a very cool attack here, and just compromising my machine. Thank you for that, or not. We'll see afterwards. But just for the fact that we're using vulnerable VS Code extensions, so like I'll need to be careful a bit more. But I guess, like we said, this is a bit of a tricky part because there was nothing bad with any of these extensions per se. They were not malicious, it was like an honest mistake that the developer was making, and insecure kind of like code practices like path reversal and code injections. And some of the other stuff are maybe working in a different way. And Kirill also mentioned that the exploits work in different ways, which is an interesting deep dive into understanding how he's actually able to exploit some of these vulnerabilities in practice. This is completely remote, everything done remotely here. So this is pretty cool. Cool. I like this. I like this a lot. What's this? Still hacking me with the never gonna give you up video. Are we built to talk about some cooking tips for pancakes, or do you want to skip that one and save it for the next item?
Yeah, let's go for the next item. I'm not good at cooking pancakes.
All right, cool. Next time. So we have kind of left up with wanted to end up with some resources for you. So I've got a few of those. If you have no idea what SAST is, static application security testing, or static code analysis, what are these things like? Why are they maybe different from each other, and so on? Why Snyk Code is maybe interesting for you to look at. So I've wrote this blog post. You're welcome to look at it. Read through about SAST tools. Like this has a good intro, as well as kind of like what you should look for, and some screenshots and like ideas of like what does it look like when you want to use it in your IDE and your CLI, like Kirill was showing here. What's the next one? This one is yours, Kirill. Do you want to say what's going on there?
Yeah, this one is detailed write-up. As I mentioned it already, it has like full-featured exploits, the videos, and all like nice stuff. If you like the security, this is good read, believe me.
So okay, cool. This is a deep dive one. So this is yours and Raul's, and these are all screenshots from the Snyk blog. So if you just Google this up or use the links here. What's the next? I think we had one more. Yeah. So if you wanted to start with Snyk Code, which is, by the way, free, like you could just start using it from the CLI, from the UI, importing projects. If you're using Snyk already, by the way, and you import a project, will automatically detect and find Snyk Code related issues. I think it's not under feature flag, but you need to enable that in the settings. And that from that point on, we'll go ahead and scan those assets for you, all of your code basically. Or you could just go to the extensions marketplace in either IntelliJ or VSCode and just add it, like we were showing with Kirill's demo, as well as the CLI is getting supported too. So this is pretty much it. What will I say at this point, Kirill? Like this has been fun. I hope I hope you're not gonna do any funny stuff with all the data you have now. Yeah, keep it safe.
Yeah, you should throw away your laptop as soon as possible.
I'm gonna format it once we're done. That's it. All right, buddies. So we'll wave goodbye to everyone. I'll thank you a lot for joining this live stream and preparing all of these demos and everything from it. Did you want to say? I'm not gonna say in the last words, but like any parting words to anyone listening here?
Yeah, I really appreciate your time. It was really good. Thanks a lot for watching.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for having. Thank you for being here. For us to have you is real fun stuff. I hope I know we're gonna do another live stream, because the way I know you're gonna have a few more researches that needs to get disclosed. So I'm looking forward to that one. And yeah, you're welcome every time, buddy. Just drop a word and we'll do some live hacks.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Bye, everyone. And thank you all for being in the stream. If you have any questions, shoot us up. Kirill is also on Twitter as Byte89, right? We're going to dive into why that is the nickname in the next live stream. So we're gonna put that cliffhanger right there and chat with you all soon. Thank you for being with us at Snyk Live. Have a great day.